starting with the first speaker of this morning, retired Commander Indu Prabha. Friends, I request the team to be ready with her AV, but today again is a very important day as far as the history is concerned. Today is February 4, and on this very day, in 1995, the American astronaut Ellen Collins became the first woman to pilot space shuttle. So woman power, whenever we talk of woman power, we have examples across us, around us, who have done wonderful things. And if America was doing something in 1995, we had our own Indu Prabha, who was heading a warship, not even some simple ship, a warship, and she is very much present here. I'll request the tech team to give her presentation, the AV.
Commander Indu Prabha V, India, retired. Commander Indu Prabha V is Joint Director of Department of Scenic Welfare and Resettlement, Belgavi, Karnataka. She is an accomplished, result-oriented and dynamic commander of the Indian Navy with over 14 years of progressively higher leadership and management experience. Commander Indu Prabha has several achievements in her successful career. She was the First Lady Logistics Officer posted on board warship INS Amba and the First Lady Commander of the Indian Navy from Karnataka. She was a member of the Special Task Force for Rehabilitation post-tsunami. She has efficiently extended logistics support to approximately 9,000 troops dispersed over large distances in the inhospitable terrain of Andaman and Nicobar Islands by incorporating efficient, cost-saving and structured logistics concepts. She received appreciation from the Relief Commissioner, Andamans and Nicobar Islands, and the Joint Parliamentary Committee of Government of India for developing a software program for accounting relief materials during the tsunami in Andamans and Nicobar Islands. The framework designed was replicated by other governmental organizations. She was the District Nodal Officer for Army Recruitment Rally in 2014 and has successfully recruited more than 12,000 candidates from Karnataka. She was the District Nodal Officer for compiling the data on the history of the Indian Navy in the INS Chappal Warship Memorial Premises, Karwar, and the District Nodal Officer for liaison or interaction with administrative and civic authorities, military authorities in helping resettlement of ex-servicemen and their dependents through re-employment and self-employment, financial assistance to the Second World War veterans and their widows. Commander Indu Prabha V, India, retired.
A very good morning to you all. I'm so honored to be here along with you all as a Rotarian myself also and facing the Rotarians. Thank you so much for inviting me here for the district conference. Firstly, I would like to thank our district governor, 3142. Thank you very much, sir, for inviting here.
Thank you.
Okay, I would like to begin. Please allow me to begin today's session, that too the first session, by narrating a small story. It is about a little girl for say 22, 23 years old. After completing her graduation, she came up on a specific advertisement. And the advertisement is as follows. As you can see, it stated the Indian Navy, an ocean of opportunities. Now, when I saw this, when the little girl saw this, it was so attractive. It was not for the uniform. It was because of its challenge that it was giving. And From 1992, they had started the first commission lady officers to be taken in the armed forces. So I was, at that time, obviously doing my graduation, and the minimum qualification was that you had to be a graduate. So waited for my graduation to get over and applied for it and took and grabbed that opportunity and applied for it. It said, give your ambitions a chance. The most attractive thing was it offered an extraordinary range of career opportunities to travel far and wide, away from the inside the classroom wala sessions, and to look and see the world around. It was really very special. So once this happened, then I started getting interested. Even though I was an NCC cadet during my college times, I was keen to go into a uniformed kind of a service. So this is the ad which was there at that time. Please do have a glimpse of it.
In the ocean's deepest depths, I roam unfettered. And high above the oceans, I bring my enemy down. As limitless is the ocean, so are my opportunities to make a career out of a calling, to serve the nation with honor, to succeed in battle and in life. The Navy gives you more.
Duty called me to the ocean to ride its waves and protect our waters, to prowl beneath its surface and seek the enemy, to take wing from the waters and attack from above. In return, the ocean gave me opportunities to discover capabilities I never knew I had, to inspire me for battle, to earn the respect of my country. The Navy gives you more. Indian Navy, an ocean of opportunities.
So this did attract me. So I promptly, like a college student, went and saw this advertisement also in the employment news, applied for it, went to the post office, personally posted it. It was in a manual form, it was not in the digital format. After applying for it, they had called for the Services Selection Board. Had gone to the Services Selection Board at Bhopal, and it was there that they did our written test, the physical test, the group task test, the interview. It was a tough selection procedure. There was an equality in the selection process also. So the call for the application was for the logistic cadre, and only 6 people, the vacancy was only for 6 people to be inducted for that vacancy. Now the 6 people is for both gentlemen as well as lady officers. So we did apply for it, and after this process of these written test, the psychological test, the group task test, followed by the interview, we had a medical test. And it is after this complete series of tests for each and every candidate there in batches, so around 20-30 batches, and then a final merit list was formed. And in all India, there was only 6 people who had the ability to make that mark, and the cream was selected. And I'm very proud to say, out of the 6 in the logistics, there were 5 lady officers and only 1 gentleman officer. Out of an applications of 25,000 to 30,000 applications received by the Navy. So once this happened, then it was pretty exciting. Till such time, you got the call letter. I do and still remember the day when the postman had come to my residence, and he refused to give the registered post of the call letter to my parents, stating that it has got the seal of OIGS, that is on Indian government service, and they refused to give it to my parents, said that the individual herself should come and collect it. It was a rainy day, and I, along with my sister, went in a scooty to the head post office and collected it was a rainy day, and let me tell you, we wore raincoat and went by the scooter and then collected this particular call letter. Once we received the call letter, I didn't have the courage to open it because I was not sure what is in it for me. With trembling hands, after I reached home, slowly I opened it, and my excitement knew no bounds that now I will be starting my first wave and life into the Navy. So I went in. The initial part of the training was a physical training, and it was at that time Naval Academy, Goa. I know the moment I say Goa, most of us, even though we are Rotarians also and citizens, we always tag it with fun, laughter. But it was not so as far as we were concerned, because we were all naval cadets and we had gone there for a specific purpose, that is for the training purpose, and we were made to undergo a very, very strict regimen of exercises, both mental as well as physical. Now during this particular the stay or the training period, we had a lot of procedure that we had to follow, and they had to make us tough. And during that tough wala thing, we also went through a lot of punishments. Now when I say punishments, at that point of time we used to hate it, why they are giving us punishments. But we were also privy to a lot of colloquial terms which only the Navy uses. If I may say so, there is something called patti parade or get into Romeo. Like in school we used to say get into Murga, But so we were thinking, what is this they're trying to tell us? So just to let you know what specific punishment that we used to undergo, one is that which I told you about the patti parade. The patti parade, we in the Navy have got several uniforms. We have got the PT uniform, we have got the 8 alphas, 8s, that is a white uniform. Then we have got the evening rig, that is a 6Bs. We have got the ceremonial rig, and so on and so forth. So during this patti parade, in the regimen of the schedule for the whole day, it starts off at 5 o'clock in the morning, the training, and goes for a run, come back, have tea. Then after that, you freshen up, go for breakfast. Then uske baad you go for the classes, which is there in the academy. That is the lecture classes. Then we have a parade. You keep doing march past left, right, and center. And then uske baad have lunch. Again, run back to your cabins, get ready for your sports. And then again in the evening, have tea. And then again follow it with the study time. And then you finally go to sleep. You never know what time you have got up in the morning and then you end up. It was so very fast-paced. So during this particular training schedule, what used to happen is that at the middle of the night, there used to be a call for mustering all the cadets in the ground. And they used to tell us, and they used to give us this punishment that's called the patti parade. So in the patti parade, they used to ask us, all of you go back to your cabins and wear, say, PT rig and come. So we used to all run and come back in PT shorts, T-shirts, socks, shoes. And then by the time we used to come back, they used to give us a fixed time. They say 1 minute, go quickly, change and come. And we had to do it. So it was quite easy. We thought, what's wrong with this? It's so easy. But we used to come at very different timings. It was never all together. So our seniors used to say, you have not come in time, so-and-so person have not come in time. So the punishment, one person does a mistake, the whole group gets to face the punishment. So all of us were sent back again, changed into the next uniform. So it went on till the middle of the night. And then at the end of it, what happened is that as we got to know that who is slow, who is fast, a lot of bonding and teamwork started taking place. At that point of time, we never realized it. But at hindsight, we now realize that that is a place where we learned what is teamwork, what is bonding, what is helping each other. And this was a very different and a unique way of giving punishment and ensuring that we learn the correct values. And I can say very proudly that there are 3 P's and T's that we have learned: to be punctual, to be patient, to be perseverance, to have perseverance, and finally, the teamwork and the discipline that you learn out there. After completion of this academy phase, which is around 3 months or so, there's one more incident that I would like to say. As I said, it is Goa. We were all very interested to see the places around Goa, especially the beaches, as well as some church and all. So our senior said, not to worry, we will take you there. So they put us on a battle rig and told us, now chalo, chalkar jakar dekhenge. So from Academy, Veram, Goa, we went walking. And, and we had to carry our own lunch pack, water, and we just kept marching. And the only thing that I do remember is that we had landed up in the fort, and in the fort, that was only the puri bhaji which we had taken as the breakfast. That is the thing that I remember. I don't remember seeing anything else of Goa. No beaches, no churches, no fort. So it was just go there because we were so tired. We were just made to, walk the talk, and go and see the places. So that is what I do remember about Goa during the training phase. Of course, they made it tough for us. After that, we were given our staff appointments. In the initial staff appointment, I was appointed in Material Organization Visakhapatnam, and in this place, it was the warehouse and had a huge inventory of spares and equipments of the Navy, especially for the naval ships as well as the aircrafts. So we were responsible as the logistic officer. Since my branch was logistics, I was looking after the procurement as well as the supply. And there was a very good, fantastic system of integrated logistic management system to supply and to ensure that the supply chain management continued and no ship at sea would be stranded for want of any kind of spares or equipments. After completion of that, then came my next wave in life. The wave was, there was a signal in which the Navy had asked anybody interested from the lady officers wanting to go and be posted on board the mighty warships. So I just grabbed the opportunities. Like I said, it's an ocean of opportunities. I did grab that opportunity and I applied for the same, and they had posted me on board INS Amba. So there was a slide here for the selection process. And this is the ship that I have served on. It's a mighty warship, and it is also a submarine depot ship for the submarines. It is a warship looking after as well as tagging along the submarines which you can see. Now, this had a ship's company. We call the strength of the people who are posted on board the ship. The ship's company was 300, and there was only one logistic officer, and that was a lady officer on board this ship. So it was initially, a lot of apprehensions were there in the minds of the sailors as well as the officers, how they will be able to manage. We used to sail for almost 10 to 15 days at a stretch, and our duty was to ensure, as a logistic officer, ensure that the rations are there at place for the ship's crew, and they are not in short of food, they are not in short of spares, they are not in short of funds, the financial assistance if there is any kind of an emergency. And everything had to be seen that the sailing should not be stopped for want of any of this kind of replenishment. If in case that happens, and if it is an added number of days of sailing, then we used to go to the nearest port and get ourselves replenished. So this was the Amba tenure, and when it used to be long sailing, we used to do a little bit of rifle shooting, just to have a good time on board the ship. The massive wave was when I was posted in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. It was here that the tsunami, which you all know, which happened on 26th December 2004. So here, the magnitude of the earthquake was 9.1. And the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, there are around 572 islands, and of which 37 are inhabited. Out of the 37 islands, 2 islands in Andamans and 13 islands in Nicobar was very severely affected. It was started, since I was there, it actually started with a massive earthquake. We didn't know what was happening. And once this happened, it was around 6:20 a.m., we were all moving out of our respective cabins. We were in the mess. We were all moved out of the respective cabins. And we were standing in open ground. And that's when there was, after around 1 or 2 hours, around 8:30 in the morning, the waves suddenly receded backwards. And after around 10 minutes, the first wave came, then the second wave came, and the third one was a massive one. So with this wave that took place, we lost many people, especially in the Car Nicobar and Nicobar Islands. We have got an Air Force base at Car Nicobar, wherein around 111 Air Force personnel had lost their lives as well as their families. The whole island area, that area was totally wiped out. So it was the closest that being in the Navy, and since the naval officers, lady officers were not put in combat situation, this was the closest that I could say, that closest towards a warlike situation. So I was fortunate again to get another opportunity to help the people of Andaman and Nicobar Island. There was an integrated relief command set up, having personnel from the defense forces as well as from the civil administration. And it was formed in January 2005 to look into certain specific areas, because there was no electricity, there was no water supply, it was total darkness. There was tremendous fear in the minds of the people, and everybody were out of their homes and literally staying and sleeping on the main roads because fear of the building collapsing. And the earthquakes and the tremors were continuing for at least 6 hours, more than that. So the tsunami waves, massive destruction taking place, people were totally washed out away from the place. And the lighthouse that you see, that is in Campbell Bay, that is the southernmost tip, and that's how the lighthouse, all greenery washed away. So the relief operations were conducted in 3 phases. One is the assessment of the damage, search and rescue was being done, and immediate relief for food and water. And the second phase was to set up certain relief camps, shelter, restoration of communication and electricity. And the third phase was to build up the logistics for sustenance, as well as to initiate quick action to ensure that normalcy came back into life at Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And let me tell you here a very beautiful incident which I must share. Since I was there with the district administration in a jetty called Hado, wherein all the relief material which came from all over, all parts of India, it was being collected in this particular jetty where there was a warehouse kept for it. And we had made a database of collection and ensuring that it goes to the particular specific islands where it was severely affected. So here was a Herculean task. The task was that the island was there, the jetties were totally collapsed, and the ships could not reach there. So from the ships anchored at sea, it was being shifted to a small boat, and through boats, it was going to the particular beneficiaries. And we were meant to ensure that it reaches the beneficiary. And let me tell you, in the relief material, there were a lot of relief material from none other than a very famous organization called the Rotary Organization. And who was to know that 20 years down the line, I will be standing here for attending a Rotary function and explaining the same thing to you all. I'm really proud to say that the Rotary Club did have a contribution at that particular time. Now, after the relief operations, there were the president of the late president, Dr. Abdul Kalam, he too had come and witnessed the relief operations being done. Post this particular service in life, I then joined the Department of Sainik Welfare and Resettlement. Now, I say that post-Navy is that we were inducted as a short service commission officers, and it was only for 14 years. So after completion of 14 years, there was no policy for us to continue. We had no other go but to join or to leave the service. Once we left the service, I was truly blessed that I got into an organization which was again related to the armed forces itself, looking after the veterans of the Army, Navy, and Air Force. So my first appointment was in the Department of Sainik Welfare at Karwar as the Deputy Director, and then on promotion, I have now gone to Belgaum, presently I've come now from Belgaum, from the Department of Sainik Welfare. And as the Zilla Sainik officer there, it is exclusively for the respective Zilla, and people who are from various parts of the country, if they are having their particular hometown at the particular place in Belgaum, they do come under our organization. And in this particular setup, we are made to interact with the civil authorities, district administration, with the various military establishments, provide the various financial assistance, implement various schemes, and also sponsor them for the various employment opportunities. A lot of challenges there too. And in those challenges, the youth of Karnataka, I can say at that time, they were not very interested in taking armed forces as their career. So that was a major challenge. Most of them had lack of awareness. And the way through that we found was that we did conduct a lot of free pre-recruitment training for the youth of Karnataka. A lot of lectures, motivational sessions were done in colleges. Undoubtedly, there was an increase in the number of people applying for the same, and there was army recruitment rallies which is being conducted every year, and it was conducted in 2014. At that time, around almost 12,000 candidates did apply for it, and slowly, the numbers are increasing. So this was just a glimpse of the exercises and the tasks which we had undertaken. There was also, there's an Armed Forces Flag Day Fund, and we intended to include the civilians in it by contributing towards the Armed Forces Flag Day. So we did tap on several NGOs, several organizations for the corporate social responsibility. And again, I can proudly say the incentive award was given for 11 years that I have been in this department. The 11 years consecutively, we have got the award for crossing the target for the Armed Forces Flag Day from the Governor of Karnataka. This is just a few glimpses of the same. Now, I will not say it's a rosy picture. We did have a lot of plus and minuses, a lot of calm waves and the turbulent ones. Mostly the calm waves was the professional competence, the discipline, and the leadership which we gained. And the turbulent were, as you all know, Defense Force is mainly a male-dominated organization. So it was like breaking the glass ceiling. And to add on to it, it is a central government organization which had diverse cultural and social norms of the sailors. And the sailors who are subordinates to the officers used to not, they were never used to getting orders from the bosses who happened to be a lady. It took us some time, especially there was few people of the sailors who were at the age of almost our father's age. So it was difficult to scold them or to bullshit them in the language, excuse my language for using it. But we used to just say, "Masab, aapse to ye umeed nahi thi," karke bol dete the, so he used to get our point. So we have our own way of conveying it, that when to give them a push. Now, what has happened in the initial stage in '92 of the first commission of the lady officers in the Navy, the rippling effect that had later on is that in the year 2017 and 18, there was an all-women crew of the naval officers, lady officers, who did a Sagar Parikrama. It was for 104 days on a very small, tiny Indian naval sailing vessel called INS Tarini. And this was an achievement to prove that point that anything can be done. And always I say that when the life goes tough, the tough gets going. There was a Supreme Court ka order which said that they are giving permanent commission for the commission of women officers as permanent commission. So these are all the ripple effect. In year 2020, we had the first woman pilot. Again it is a combat wala aircraft in Doniers. Sub-Lieutenant Shivangi was the first woman naval pilot. And recently, in last year, December, the announcement was done for posting the first women officer to command a naval ship, INS Trinket, that is Lieutenant Commander Prerna Diostali. Further to that, the ripple effect that had happened is that the Indian Navy gets the first batch of women sailors, and almost 2,500 odd people of Agniveers, they're called, passed out from INS Chilka, of which 200 were from the Navy. And now, because since the sailors have already got inducted, we also had now the officers inducted for the Army, Navy and Air Force in the National Defense Academy, Khadakwasla. That was started just 2022. So I wish to here make some certain parallels between Navy and the Rotary. Rotary also had, the US Supreme Court had given an order on giving membership to women in 1987. So they had to give it excluding on the basis of gender. So that had started in 87. The same in the case of Navy, even though women were inducted in 92, but the permanent commission was from 2020. And that was again after the Supreme Court order gave the verdict on it. Secondly, in the case of Rotary, it's always service above self. And in the Navy, it is service to the nation first and always. The first woman president, Rotary International 22-23, Jennifer E. Jones, after a very, very long time, a lady became a president. And I do not know, there will be a day that 30 years down the line, since there is an NDA recruitment going on, that 30 years down the line, there would be one first woman admiral or who will lead as the chief of naval staff. So this is the first woman president, and we do have a first surgeon vice admiral. She is from the doctors. She's not from the executive cadre. She's from the doctor. She is the first surgeon vice admiral of Indian Navy, Punita Arora, PVSM, SM, and VSM. So I would like to say that may the Lord of Oceans be auspicious unto us. The motto of the Indian Navy is Shamno Varunaha, and life is like an ocean. You can either be the ball that is floating on the waves, or you make your own waves. Thank you, and Jai Hind. And before I end, I would like to dedicate one particular kind of a clap, because it is Udan, the flight, and I would request the audience to kindly join with me and participate in this particular clap. If you could kindly stand up, please. You can hear me? Okay. One clap and go to your left. Second clap, go to your other side. And then third clap, you come from down. And the fourth clap, it will be a... Okay? Okay? Shall I hold it? Okay.
Yeah, what a way to start the proceedings on the second day. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think you have geared up the audience, you have charged us up. I think the days of glass ceiling and all things are over. And the new era has dawned in India, and particularly people like you are the crusaders of women empowerment. This is the magic of Rotary Conference, friends. And I think we get an opportunity to hear speakers like Indu Prabha and many who are going to follow us. Now I would request our District Governor Milind Kulkarni and RIPR Dr. K. Ravi Appaji to felicitate our esteemed guest.
Hello. Friends, before we felicitate our esteemed guest, she deserves a standing ovation for great motivational address. Please give her. Yes.
There are many Indu Prabhas waiting in their home. And all these people are going to take your message back home. And the girls in those families are going to be the future of this country. I think the clapping should continue for our esteemed guest as she is felicitated. Thank you very much, madam, for making our day. Friends, the second in line is